So what we're going to talk about is belief in yourself, belief in your business, belief in the products, belief in what this business can do for other people, belief in your mission. All of those things. We're going to talk about belief. We're going to talk about, Crystal's going to talk about belief, Crystal Butler. And she just got back from Cabo, so she's probably all tan. She's going to talk about belief. I'll probably touch on belief some. I have a lot to talk about, so I'm going to try to talk about it all, but not take too long. I'm going to go ahead and say this might be like an hour and a half call because we all have a lot of good content for you, but it's going to be worth it. It's going to be valuable. Cassidy's going to talk about goals and commitment, and Rachel's going to talk with us about consistency. So we just have a lot of good things, and a lot of these things you have never heard before. I truly believe this is going to be the most valuable call you've ever been a part of. So like I said, this is going to be the foundation for everything in your business, because when it comes to success in your business and running a business well, it's not about the what. It's really about the why. It's about why you're doing this. It's not necessarily about what should I do, because literally you have every tool at your fingertips for what to do in this business. And it's a very simple business. It's about the why. The why is why you do what you do. It's what keeps you going. It's not the what. So let me move this. This is absolutely driving me crazy. Now I can see my chat box. If you've never been on a Zoom before, we have 26 people on here. That's amazing. If you've never been on a Zoom before, you can use the chat box at any time to ask a question, to talk with each other. One thing I want to say is I would not try to take notes this go around, because it is going to be a lot of content. It's going to be very valuable content, but I want you to let it sink in. I want you to hear everything we're going to share with you. All of my calls are always recorded on YouTube, so it will be on YouTube right when this is over. And you can go back tonight when your kids have gone to sleep, or whenever you have a quiet moment, to actually take notes and, write down your important takeaways and what you're going to put into action. But right now, I just want you to listen and just let everything sink in and really think about how you resonate with the things that are shared. Cassandra, you are very right. If you don't have belief, nothing will work. It's so true. It's so true. And that's like the one thing that so many people miss the mark on is belief. And it's like, how do you expect any of this to work if you don't believe in yourself, first of all, and if you don't believe in what you're doing and what you're selling and the opportunity that you're selling? And how are you going to believe in your team if you can't believe in yourself? So so first thing we're going to talk about is gap versus gain. And I don't know if any of you have ever heard this before, but this is like the best analogy, I guess is what you would call it, analogy that I've ever heard when it comes to accepting that you're not at a certain place yet, but enjoying the journey that you're on and embracing that process. I always say obsess over the process and don't obsess so much over the outcome, but putting it in this perspective was really eye-opening for me. So I really think it's going to be eye-opening for all of you. The first thing is, when you're looking at where you're not at yet, adding that word alone, adding that word yet, makes a huge difference in itself. That's something that Heidi said in one of her keynotes at an SFR. I don't remember what year it was, but it was so pivotal. Just saying, changing that verbiage to, what you're telling yourself, what your mind is being filled with, instead of saying, I'm not there, or I can't book parties, or I can't, whatever. When you add yet to that, it makes such a difference, because you know that it's going to happen at that point. It just hasn't happened yet. So instead of just saying, I can't do something altogether, you're saying, I can't do that yet. So then that tells your brain, okay, yet. I can't do it yet. So what do I need to do to work on that so that I can get to that point? How can I improve? What do I need to change? So stop focusing on where you aren't yet and start focusing on how far you have come. And that is where gap versus gain comes in. So when you're really focusing on living in the gain versus living in the gap of where you're not at yet, it changes your whole perspective on things. It literally changes the chemicals in your brain. Like, it creates dopamine when you are thinking of things in a positive manner like that, instead of saying, you know, I'm not here yet. This is not working yet. I'm not where this person is yet. Comparing yourself to other people when their journey is totally different than yours. You are where you're at for a reason. But when you start really focusing on the gain and stop living in a place where you're constantly beating yourself up and saying, I'm not there yet. Why am I not there yet? Why are they there and I'm not there? Well, they've been doing this the same amount of time as me and I'm not there yet. That doesn't matter. The amount of time somebody has been doing this literally does not matter. Everyone's business looks different. There are people who've been doing this the same amount of time as me, or a little bit longer, or even less time than me, and have way bigger groups than I do. But that is what God intended for them. And what I have is what God intended for me. And you have to accept that, and you have to know that everything happens for a reason. Everything you've been given is for a reason, and stop looking at the things you don't have. Look at the things you do have. Look at the positives in your business. Look at how far you have come, because somebody somewhere is praying for what you have right now. I don't care if that's in personal life or business. Someone somewhere is wishing and praying that they could have what you have. You're farther than you were when you joined. And that's the way you always need to look at it. So like I said, it creates dopamine in your brain when you start thinking like that. And it helps you when your brain is in that place, it functions better. It's going to help you actually make a plan to move forward and figure out where you need to go. Where if you're just too focused on, well, I'm not there yet, well, I'm not there yet, you're just constantly going to be beating yourself up. Does anybody relate to this? So an example, a lot of people, and this is kind of where I struggle with things as a leader sometimes. Y'all know this, I always show y'all I'm very transparent. I'll show you my paychecks. I'll show you the breakdowns of my paychecks. I'll show you my progress from 2014 to 2022. I will show you the numbers. I'll show you everything. The problem with that, and this isn't my problem. So this is something that I've had to learn to deal with. Like, it's my job to share those things to inspire people. If someone wants to take that and compare themselves to that, that's not my problem. So I have to accept that as a leader, to say, I'm here to inspire people. They can take it as they want to. If you're finding yourself comparing, if that's something you struggle with, you've got to fix that in your mind. You have to be inspired by things and not compare yourself to that. That is, when people post things like that, you need to use that as inspiration. And I'm not there yet, but what are they doing that I can duplicate to get to that point? So, but a lot of people will look at my paychecks when they share it, and it's like they forget that there was a whole process, a whole 7-year process. And the amount of years, like I said, doesn't even matter, because everybody's journey is different. Just because I'm making 6 figures, I was making 6 figures after 5 years, I think. Just because I was at that place doesn't mean you're going to be at that place. And you may be at that place in 3 years, which is my goal for all of you. I want all of you to get to where I am faster than I got to where I am, because I'm giving you all the tools that I didn't have. So You cannot look at something like that and compare yourself and totally forget about the fact that there was a whole process behind that. There was a whole struggle behind that. There was a whole lot of sacrifice behind that. You can't look at yourself and say, well, it sure would be nice to, be able to make that. And you've been doing this a year, or you've been doing this 6 months, or maybe you've been doing this 5 years. But you need to look at yourself and say, how have I been working? Have I been working like a 6-figure earner? And if you haven't, then that's not even a comparison. You have to look at this person. What has this person done to get to that point that I can do to get to that point? Never try to rush it, because this is never, you're never going to be rich overnight. You're never going to, it's not a get rich quick thing. I mean, you have to be willing to play the long game in this business, and you have to be patient. You have to be patient. So eventually, when you're looking at like people's paychecks and thinking about your dream paycheck, you have to understand eventually you're going to get there. You're eventually going to get to a place where your pay far exceeds your efforts. Right now, it may not feel that way. Your pay, it may not feel like your pay far exceeds your efforts right now, but eventually, years down the road, it will get to that place and it will be worth it. But you have to be willing to go through the crap and the hard times and the blood, sweat, and tears, and this doesn't feel worth it, and is this even working? Am I even doing, like, all of that? You've got to be willing to go through those things, and hearing all the no's, and hearing all the no's is going to be there forever. So if you think that's ever going to end, it's not. So that's something you just have to get used to be honest. Like, eventually it just becomes a thing. No, okay, move on. You didn't die. Nobody died. Everybody's fine. So you'll always hear no, always. Completely normal, but eventually you just get more and more used to it. But like I said, embrace the process, obsess over the process, enjoy the process, and know that everything along that journey is happening for a reason, and it's not happening to you, it's happening for you. Yes, work smarter, not harder. What we need to do is easy. Just need to do it and be committed. I love that. It's so true. This business is so simple, but everybody overcomplicates it. And I mean, I'm guilty of that too. That's why I say everybody, I mean, we overcomplicate things, and it's just not necessary. That's why it's so important to reflect on yourself and reflect on your business and think, what needs to change? Where am I struggling? Like, what am I doing too much of? What's unnecessary? What's fluff work? What is busy work? What's not even making me money? What is pointless? What can I delegate? What can I eliminate? Those things, which we've talked about. We talked about that on our last call last month. So also, here's another thing. If you're constantly focusing on too high of a title, too high of a paycheck, too high of a lifestyle, that's a problem. So a dream board is great. And I keep looking up here because my dream board is there. Last year, I had my dream paycheck, like ultimate dream paycheck on my dream board. And I realized when I was redoing my dream board and thinking about all these things, I realized I need my goal paycheck for this year to be on my dream board. I don't want to constantly be looking at that $100,000 a month paycheck and thinking, God, that's so far away, so far away. Like, I don't even know how many years it's going to take to get to that point. But putting my dream paycheck up there for this year, I want to make my first $20,000 paycheck this year. So having that up there, it feels so much more attainable. And obviously I know to y'all, it's going to feel like that is 10,000 years away. So it's important to put your personal paycheck goals, your personal whatever goals. You need to have your dreams on your dream board, but you also need to have your goals for this year in front of you at all times. That way you can stay focused on the process. That way you can stay focused on that journey, those smaller goals that are going to get you to those bigger goals. So that's just a little tidbit. Stop focusing so much on, I want to get to director if you're a lead consultant, for example, or I want to get to superstar director if you're a director. One step at a time. one step at a time. Stop looking at the highest title in the company and focusing so hard on that, because number one, a title does not matter in the first place. Your title is irrelevant. How you lead by example, how you have an impact on people, how you influence people, that's what matters, not the title. I know a lot of superstar directors who do not have an impact on other people, who are not adding value to the world, who are not influencing other people well. The title is irrelevant. So, also, another thing, there's a fine line, and I've kind of talked about this, but there's a fine line between following someone or, looking at someone's journey for inspiration versus using that to compare or using that to rush the process or letting that discourage you. If you're finding yourself being discouraged by other people and their success, first of all, that's got to be a whole mindset shift. But you need to stop following people who are making you feel that way. If you can't control your thoughts and make your mind think, snap out of it and think, okay, I need to be living in the game, not the gap. If you can't make that switch, then you just need to unfollow these people. It's just like the people you surround yourself with, positive people, negative people. That can be a negative thing if you're letting it be that way in your mind. So, kind of playing on that, your brain automatically is going to default to negativity. That is the way it works. It's automatically, I don't remember the numbers. I should have looked this up, but you have like way more negative thoughts in a day than you have positive thoughts. And I really wish, I don't know the numbers. I wish I knew, but I've heard multiple times, like the amount of negative thoughts we have far surpass the amount of positive thoughts. So it's up to us to make that switch in our brain to find a positive, first of all, in every single negative. That's like a big, huge shift I made in my thinking a lot of years ago, because I was having so many negative thoughts all the time, just automatically defaulted to the most negative of every situation. I had to make those changes in my mind and force, that switch to turn off and turn the positive switch on. But when your brain is in a positive state, it's 30% more efficient and 30% more capable of problem solving. And I think of that like with parenting. Like, I don't know if any of you struggle with parenting, but I do majorly. It's just not something I'm not blessed with patience. I'm not a kid person. So like, I've had to learn a lot about toddlers and how their brain works and problem solving and trying to figure out what their need is when they're acting a fool, like thinking about the fact that they're different than we are. They show emotions differently. But when I'm in a negative state of mind, like when I'm about to lose it, I don't problem solve with my child. I just tend to fly off the deep end. Like I just lose it. But if I can force myself in my mind to stay calm, and sometimes I have to remove myself from the situation, but if I can just force myself to stay calm, I can think a lot better. My husband's really good at that. He's really good at just staying calm. He's a very chill person anyway. Just staying calm and being able to say, okay, here's what we need to do. Let's think. So this is why you need to have positive thoughts. You have to have that mindset shift to where you're not negatively thinking about everything and negative self-talk and just beating yourself to death. Like, it's not okay. You're never going to get anywhere. You're never going to get to the place where people who think positively over their life and speak positive affirmations over their life, you're never going to get to where they're at without having their mindset. So always acknowledge how far you've come. I don't care if you have to sit down every single week and say, how far did I come this last week? And I do highly encourage you to sit down every single month and look at, what did I do well last month? Now, we do need to sit down and think about what we didn't do well last month, what didn't work. But when you're doing that, acknowledge the things you did well. Acknowledge the success you had. Acknowledge the people you sponsored, acknowledge the impact you had, acknowledge the one inspirational post you made that somebody said helped them. Acknowledge those things, because you need to be focused on the things you have done, not the things you have not done. So I'm gonna go ahead and let Crystal speak on belief first. And I know she's gonna have, I know this is gonna be so good. Let me find her on here. Where's she at? There you are.
Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
All right.
Oh, I love it. That's cute.
Oh goodness. I still have company here from
Wait, I think you're muted. Hold on. What just happened?
I'm okay. Is that better? Yes, I muted myself. I'm still kind of on vacation mode, so I'm still in the anyway. But I have lots of notes because I'm super excited about this topic, and it's probably been the single thing that has completely changed my business, and not only within Cincy, but like things that I carry on to my everyday life. And it's something I'm growing passionate about because I think it's so important. And you went over a lot of it. A lot of what I'm going to talk about is like the things that we're telling ourselves and what we believe, and it is so important. So anyway, I have some notes, so bear with me. I might be looking down. A couple statistics first. 50% of people who begin network marketing quit in the first year, and 95% quit in the first 10 years. Those are pretty high statistics for such an amazing business model, and things that we are told are, this is so easy. You could do it from your house. Like, you know, like what I was kind of always had the thoughts of. And then to hear the statistic that 50% of people quit in the first year. So how do we not become a victim of that statistic? And I truly believe it starts and it continues with our mind and our thoughts, and becoming the rightful owners of our business and not just a victim. And that's really what it is, if you think about it. When we tell ourselves like we can't, we don't have time, I'm just not a people person, we're making ourselves a victim. And we need to kind of get out of that, because that's a dangerous place to be in, and it's not a happy place to be in, honestly. So yeah, what is going to start and continue changing our mindset anyway, that's not what I'm trying to say. Hold on, I'm going to skip that thought. What are we telling ourselves? So what are we believing about ourselves that we don't even realize? Because we've been telling ourselves, like what Morgan was saying, is how many negative thoughts we have in a day. And sometimes we don't even realize they're negative thoughts anymore, because we have told ourselves so many times that it becomes a truth. And we don't realize that it's not a truth. It's just something we've been telling ourselves for ever and ever. And it's not even the truth. Saying things like, well, I don't really want to be a director. This is my personal story, is telling myself I didn't really want those things. But also we tell ourselves like, well, I can't book parties. Everybody else can book parties. I can't book parties. I'm not a people person. I live in a small town. I don't have time. Like all of these things that we tell ourselves, it's because we believe them as truths because we've been telling ourselves those, whether they're true or not. What if your belief determines your outcome? Not even what if, like that's your belief determines your outcome. It's not the belief of your husband or your best friend, and you can't rely on what they believe. You can't rely on, oh, somebody told me that I could do this. You have to have that belief yourself, and you have to believe it yourself. I'm going to probably say that 50,000 times because it's so important. So I've learned two things, and I'm continually learning these two things in Cincy and in my business. Is there's two things that you need in this business, and it's a passion for this business, which is essentially the belief in this business, and a willingness to learn. I heard at a training, it's been a long time ago, but I heard that everything you need in this business is learned. You don't have to be the best at anything. If you are willing to learn, then that will take you to the top, honestly. And I really, truly, truly believe that. Anything is your belief and your willingness to learn. I'll just say it like that. So for those of you who don't know my personal story, I guess Morgan can introduce me, but I'm Crystal Butler, and I am a director, and I promoted to a director in March. I've been with Cincy for 5 years. For the first 4 years of being with Cincy, I battled this belief, and my personal story, and I know a lot of people can resonate with this, but I told myself, for the first 4 years, I didn't want the team. I watched Morgan earn these incentives. I watched Morgan promote, and I would just tell myself like, oh, I don't have time for that. I told myself that I didn't really want that. Like, I just wanted to sell. I didn't want the team. And I know now, through this kind of year of growth in my business and in myself and in my mind, that I did want those things. I was telling myself I didn't want those things because it was a safe thing to say, because if I didn't want them, then there was no fear of failure. And I wasn't disappointing anybody, because I told myself enough that I didn't want it, that I believed it, that I started believing it. And when I kind of cracked through that first belief of, yeah, I do want it. Yeah, I do want to make money from home, and I do want these things, then that kind of opened up a whole new world for me. And it started with that battling and overcoming that thought of that safety mechanism that we kind of put ourselves in, of you don't want it. So sorry, I'm kind of getting ahead. I talked about that. So the first thing that kind of changed within my business after 4 years of just being a hobby was I decided I just wasn't going to quit anymore. Did I believe that I could do it? No. But I just told myself I was going to stop quitting, and I was just going to do the things that these leaders, Morgan and Brittany, I was doing her flash to full time, that I was just going to do these things that they were saying to do. Totally didn't believe any of it, but I did it. And that first month I saw results. They were small. I didn't promote that first month. I just sponsored. I just started really small. I just had some successful parties that I had been struggling with before. And that helped my belief grow. And the next month I promoted. And just as these little things started happening, my belief started growing. And can you guys hear me still? Sorry, it's hard because I can't. Okay. So see, where was I? And then I didn't just wake up one day and think, oh, I believe I can do it, and so now I can do it. I have been telling myself it's something I battle. I'm for years. And so I think it's something that I'll be battling for years, because I'm trying to peel back all of those layers of all those lies that I've been telling myself. But slowly I've started believing, really truly believing the truth. And the truth is that you can. And the truth is that it's not necessarily the people who work the hardest get to the top. It is those people who just have stopped quitting, trusted the process, and believed that they could. So what if we took this mentality into our everyday life? Just imagine what could change. I still battle my thoughts every day. But, well, let me tell you the story. So Well, I'm going to tell you two things. So I promoted quickly. Once I decided my 4 years of telling myself I didn't want anything, I changed my belief, and that process of I promoted to a director. I went from a lead to a director in 5 months. And let me tell you, the hardest month, I think still to this day, the hardest 2 months has been those 2 months after I promoted to director. I cannot even tell you how many times I wanted to quit. I cannot even tell you how many times I was just in tears thinking, like, I get emotional when I'm nervous, so I might cry. But those first 2 months after being a director were so, I'm telling you, I told myself, what have I done? I don't want this. I don't want this team. Now I have team members who I need to be training, and they're asking me all sorts of questions, and I know the answers to them, but I'm just so overwhelmed with everything. And I had created that stress for myself. Let me tell you that first. I created that stress on myself. It was not anything in my circumstances. And I wanted to just literally quit. So battled through that because it was in my mind. The work was easy. And that's the thing, is the work was easy. Battling my mind was the hardest, and still is the hardest. Like Morgan saying, the work is easy. And actually it's fun. It's the most fun work I've ever done in my life. Battling our mind is going to be the hardest thing, because it's these lies we continually tell ourselves that until we believe them, and they stop us stone cold and make us want to quit. So you guys, probably most of you guys know, I just came back from leadership, and no, I'm not bragging one bit, but I earned this trip out of 50 consultants, 50 consultants out of all the consultants. I am not saying that right. 50 of us earned this all expense free trip. This amazing, I'm so proud of myself and so proud of my team and so proud of being able to do this. And I'm on this leadership, rubbing elbows with superstar directors and people at home office. And I sat beside Emma Thompson a couple of times and chatted with her, and just all these superstar directors that I have only ever watched trainings on, never thought I would actually meet. And I really thought I was going to walk away from leadership being like ready to charge through, ready to just take on my business, ready to just all the feelings of I'm going to get a drink of water because I'm getting emotional. All the feelings of I can do this and I can do anything. And you guys, I walked away feeling so small. Because of my mind. Because I sat at these roundtable discussions. I sat at these roundtable discussions with all these leaders, just picking their brains and just telling myself, like, oh man, I'll never have a team like that. I'll never be able to learn systems like that. And I spent a lot of time talking to Rachel Pence. I don't know if you guys have watched any of her trainings, and learning all of her tips on all her organization. And you guys, if I turned the camera around and showed you my office, you guys would know, like, that girl needs to work on her organization. It's something I'm battling, and I'm telling myself I can't be organized. Like, just, this is the clean part of my office. And I walked away saying, like, I'm not going to have a team like that. I can never have a team like that. I can never be as organized as that. And I had to stop and tell myself, you're lying to yourself that you can't do this. And I promise I was not this emotional at leadership at all. I'm just emotional because I'm nervous. But I truly believe that I have spent a lot of hard work this last year. Year. It's been a full year working on my mindset and stopping myself when I told myself I wanted to quit, because I don't want to quit. I'm telling myself I want to quit because it's getting too hard, and I'm telling myself I can't do it. So at leadership, though, I was able to stop myself and retrain my mind and tell myself I can. And I'm going to get to how I've been able to do that. That was kind of a mind-blowing thing that I did learn at leadership, and very intentionally change my thoughts and kind of ease that anxiety of, oh, I can't do it, with my thoughts and with my thought process. Does that make sense? I hope that does. So the truth is, we control the results. I can't have a team like that if I'm telling myself I can't have a team like that. You won't, because it's not by chance that these things happen. I can't organize my office and stay organized in my business if I keep telling myself I can't. And I know I want it. So I know what's standing in my way is my mind. So changing my mind and controlling my thoughts to get the results I want. So something I also learned at leadership, and this was so good, and it was not even a main topic. It was just something that was said in one of the the speakers, he was talking about this, is Heidi and Orville at home office don't accept the word no. They want the staff, and they want home office, when posed with a question of topic, to say yes if. So if posed with a question, they would say, can we do this? And they would say yes if. And it could be a huge if, but they can't say no. They have to say yes if. That's so good. That's such a mind thing too, but that's so good. What if we all approached our business like this? What if all the things we're telling ourselves, no, I can't book parties. No, I can't sponsor anybody. No, I can't get a high PRV. No, I can't. What if we changed all of those to, no, I can't book parties. Can you book parties? Yes, if you ask 50 people, I don't, like, yes, if, and put what you need to do there. Can I grow my team? Yes, if, and I can write that down. And can I organize my office? Yes, if I work, an hour on Saturday, and just making that plan. So, that's kind of all I have. It's been said that comparison is the thief of joy. I have unfollowed people on Facebook, or not on Facebook, on Instagram, like superstar directors, nobody that you would know their name if I told you, but I've unfollowed them because they were overwhelming me, because I was constantly comparing myself and telling myself like, oh, I want to do that because what she's doing is super cool, or really think that's like the thing that's made her successful. And I can't pattern that. And I still watch their trainings, and I still love their day-to-day life, but I can't follow when they're showing all their in stories, mainly is what I'm talking about. Like when they're like showing everything they're doing in their business. It's just, I was comparing, and comparison really is the thief of joy. And I'm still working on my mindset. And I know that that is something that I always find myself doing. So I'm removing things like that from my mind, because I know my mind, the results are in my mind, the results I want, and I want to make, I want to change that. I want to change that about myself. So like I said, also, I'll say it again, like the work part of Cincy came easy after I changed my mindset. And it's something I will always be working on. And maybe if you're like me and you're struggling with this too, is not something that you're like, oh, I'm not going to battle my mindset, my wrong thoughts anymore. I've got it. It is something you constantly battle. But what gets easier is recognizing that that is a wrong mindset, or that's a wrong thought, that's a lie. And then you can correct it. And that is huge. And just remembering, yes, if. So anyway, that's all I have. Thank you so much. And I'm going to go see what Courtney said in the comments, because I don't know. I'll look at it with the next speaker docs, because Courtney said something good and I want to know what it was. But okay. Thank you, Morgan.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you so much. Thank you for sharing. That was absolutely amazing. I was going to say, actually, I was going to read what Courtney said. She said, work on not apologizing. This is such good advice. This is something I've had to work on a lot in the past that I've gotten better about. Working on not apologizing. She said, stop being sorry. Instead of saying, sorry, I haven't got back to you yet, say, thank you for being patient with my response. Like, making those little shifts in your verbiage, like what you're telling people, what you're telling your mind, making those little shifts. It seems so dumb sometimes, but when you start actually practicing it, you'll see like everything in your life will change. Everything, your relationships, your business, your parenting, your leadership, your customer service, like everything in life will change when you make these little shifts. And the yes if, I'm so glad you brought up the yes if. It has been probably years since I heard them talk about that, so I had completely forgot about the yes if, and I love it. I love it so much. So thank you so much, Crystal, for sharing. That was just so good. As always, you always make such an impact. Cassidy is going to be next, so she's going to talk with y'all about I know she's going to talk about commitment, but I'm going to let her talk about whatever she wants to talk about. So I'm going to have her unmute, and I can't wait to hear what she has to say.
Hey, y'all.
Oh, hang on. Let me take me off of here.
Let me fix the screen a little bit.
There we go.
Oh, goodness. Why is my head so big? All right, y'all. Hi. How do I follow these amazing ladies? Because, oh, my God, like all the feels today. So if y'all don't know me, my name is Cassidy. I am the director of Team Simply Scented Sisters. Hi, Chels. And wow, y'all. Today I want to talk about aligned goals, kind of talk more about belief and commitment with your business and accepting your failures and why that's so important in order to keep your mind right and to keep going with the flow. But I want to kind of touch first on belief. I know Crystal just delivered so lovely on that topic, but so 2021 was actually my first year with Cincy. I joined January 9th, so I just made my 1 year anniversary. But my word for 2021 was belief, and it was very important for me going into this new business to really and truly believe in myself, but also believe in my business and my capability of running a business. Okay. So long story short, I knew I wanted to be a director. And like Morgan said, title isn't everything, but I knew that there was a lot of responsibility. Recruiting was a huge thing for me. Being a leader, learning how to be a leader and leadership was huge for me. So with all of that being said, I knew that it was so very important for me to believe in myself and for me to get that belief. So in 2021, I really put in some effort, y'all. I put in a lot of effort on really paying attention to how I'm talking to myself, what kind of trainings am I listening to, what kind of people am I listening to, what kind of people am I following on social media, and really focusing on, you know, what I'm putting into my mind, because at the end of the day, like everyone says, mindset is everything. And it is truly so important, because that is what lays the foundation for, you know, every outcome in your life, both personal and business. So got the belief system down. Yay, go 2021. But it really did take a lot of work, and it is really hard to remember sometimes that negativity is around us 24/7, and it is really so important for you to sit down at the end of the day and really focus on the positives that are happening in your life. Um, so that's kind of why I wanted to talk about align goals first. So I don't think Morgan mentioned this, but we all decided to do a training opportunity together. And one of the major things that really stuck out to me at this particular training event was that at the end of the day, you are 100% responsible for any outcome you find in this business, in life in general. Okay. You are 100% in control. And I know that sounds really yucky because no one wants to accept that, whether the outcome is good or bad, you are 100% in control, right? So that's a really hard pill to swallow. And I think for so much time last year, I really just did not hold myself accountable. And I know we're all guilty of it. You don't want to hear that you're doing the wrong things or you're not doing them consistently. Maybe you're not using your time wisely. Maybe you lack time management. Maybe you lack self-discipline, right? So really focusing on doing what you do in your business and learning to do it well and consistently is really all you have to do, you guys. It really is that simple. But it is it is hard. You have to have discipline and you have to have belief in yourself in order to get any of these things done. But I think my biggest thing is going back to what Morgan and Crystal said, we need to be setting aligned goals with where we are today versus where we want to be 2, 3, 4, 5 years from now. Okay. So if your goal right now is to hit lead consultant, you know that one of your major goals needs to be recruiting. So focus on recruiting your 2 to 4 new teamies this month. And then next month, set a new goal. Set a new goal. Instead of having one major goal of maybe, having a group of 10 people, focus on that 1, 2, 3, and 4 right now versus, what's to come in the future. That alone is going to help you stay aligned and stay on track with what you want to achieve in the long run. And it's also going to help you acknowledge your small successes, like you did in the very beginning of starting your business, right? I know y'all all remember the first time you've ever had recruited someone or your first sale or anything like that. You need to celebrate those small successes along the way. If you do tend to focus on more hustly goals, and by a hustle goal, I mean, setting those goals. I lost my train of thought, y'all. The brain fog is real. I have been so sick. But essentially hustle goals. So like setting goals for the future, but not really focused on where you are currently, kind of like in the gap in the gain, like we were talking about earlier with Morgan. Focusing on where you're at now versus where you could be potentially later. That's all I was trying to say. But make sure you are setting goals that are aligned with your thoughts, beliefs, and your actions. If you are setting a goal for yourself and you are not realistically going to hit that, do not set that goal, okay? Because you will get upset. You will be really hard on yourself. And we don't have time for that. We don't have time for that kind of negativity. It's so important to really focus on how we are speaking to ourselves, not only what we're putting into our mind, but also what we're doing and what we're saying and what we are putting into our minds. So really, the next thing I wanted to talk about was bringing balance into your business and focusing on your commitment. I really really, really, really want to emphasize that, again, we are in control of all of our actions. And I know that's kind of hard to hear sometimes, but hear me out. Okay. At the end of the day, if this is something that you want for the long haul, you have to know exactly what you need to do every single day. You need to focus on your IPAs. You know that. So make a non-negotiable list every single day and get those things done first. Cut the fluff, keep it simple. And I know it's easier said than done, but it is so vital for your business. And it is so easy for us to sit back and just wallow in self-pity. But like, again, like Brittany said, ain't nobody got time for that. All right. Let's see, where did I leave off? Oh, okay. Commitment is the product of a disciplined effort that eventually becomes an effortless habit. I'm going to say that again. Commitment is the product of a disciplined effort that eventually becomes an effortless habit. Life is going to throw curveballs your way. It's going to make you want to quit at some point. But instead of throwing in the towel through the stress and the frustrations, you need to pick up your kit and get back to work. That's it. Sometimes it's going to be really, really hard. Everything around you is going to be fighting for your attention. But again, if this is something that you really, really want for the long haul, if this is something that is going to change your life, if you stay with it, if you stay consistent with it, and if you continue to do the things that Morgan tells you to do, your sponsor tells you to do, okay, it's going to change your life. And I'm very fresh into my business. I've only been doing this for a year, and I am nowhere near where I want to be. But I know that if I continue to listen to my leaders, and if I continue to focus on my IPAs, and if I continue focusing on parties, focusing on building my Cincy Club up, that one day I will have paychecks that look like Morgan's. I will have a team size that looks like Morgan's. Okay. So team hashtag no excuses, you guys. We gotta do it. But at the end of the day, ask yourself why. Ask yourself why you are doing this. Ask yourself why you continue to show up for your team members every day. I never thought when I joined this business that I would want a team. In fact, I knew I didn't want to recruit. I didn't want to build a team. I didn't want to do any of that, looking at it from a business standpoint. But when I started doing leadership trainings and I started developing relationships with my team members, it kind of flicked a switch in my head. And Morgan says this all the time, when you actually look at things from a servanthood mindset, it really changes things for you. To me, it's not about numbers, and it's not about how big my group is, or how many new customers I'm getting every month. It's about helping people, and it's about serving them and showing them what works, what I've found that works. And yeah, but you really need to ask yourself, how bad do you want this? How bad do you want this to be a long-term passive income for you and your family? And put the excuses behind. You have to get out of that victim mindset, like Crystal was saying. It's called radical ownership. So I really think that is everything I wanted to talk about. Morgan, did you want to say anything?
You have me so emotional. Like, I don't even know why, like what you said that got me. I just wanted to cry. I'm just so proud of you. I think that's what it is. I'm so proud of you. Like how far you've come in a year is insane. And now you're on here speaking, and you were probably terrified, and you did so good. So good.
Thank you.
Oh, makes me happy. I'm not gonna cry. Okay.
Don't do it.
Don't do it. I'm gonna get through one call without crying.
Yeah.
Do you have anything else you wanted to say?
I don't know. My notes are all over. I feel like I've been talking for 8 hours.
You talk as much as you want to.
I think that's really it. Just I wanted to stress the fact that, you know, if this is important to you, you'll make time for it and you will do what you need to get done. I mean, you just have to ask yourself if it's really something you want long term or not. And that's it.
And commit or don't commit.
Commit or don't commit. That's right.
So good. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
That was so good. Okay. So good. And Courtney, we're just gonna get you to do a training on your own because you just keep saying all the good things over here. She was talking about, where did it go? Unrealistic goals. About how setting unrealistic goals can kind of set you up for failure. Like, it can lead to disappointment and lack of motivation if you're setting unrealistic goals. And that's why I always say, like, when you're thinking goals, number one, your work ethic and your commitment is going to have to align with those goals. You can't set goals that you're not going to put in the work to reach. But like, so many people just pick a number that sounds good. And they're like, okay, I'm going to go for this. Or, okay, I want to make $3,000 this year, but they have no idea what it takes to get there. And if you're not setting realistic goals like that, you are setting yourself up for failure, because you're giving yourself a paycheck goal of a star director and you're a certified consultant. And you're going to expect to make this big paycheck, but yet you have no legitimate action plan to reach that goal. And it's not even reachable because you've just pulled some number out of your head that sounds good, or some number out of your head that somebody else has set a goal for. And then you realize along the way, it's not even possible. So I suck. Or, you start saying that it's your fault or whatever. So I love that she said that. I love that she brought that up. You've got to have realistic goals that align with where you're at in your journey, that are reachable. Like, yes, we should be stretching ourselves. We shouldn't be undershooting on our goals. We need to be stretching ourselves, but they have to make sense. They have to be realistic. Okay. Dixie can't have wine on a beer budget. Okay. So Rachel, where are you at, Rachel? Where are you at? There you are. So Rachel's going to talk about consistency. And this is something that I preach every single day of my life, and have just, y'all are probably sick of hearing it from me. So now you get to hear it from somebody else. You're welcome.
Can y'all hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I had my earbud in, so I wanted to make sure. All right, I got my phone, so it's gonna probably be a little unsteady. But for those of you who don't know me, I am Rachel. I am a star consultant. I am a wife to the most wonderful husband and mother of 2 rambunctious toddlers, and caregiver for about 3 other toddlers. So she wanted the person with 5 toddlers in the house to talk about consistency. So this is going to be interesting. But I joined Cincy in May of 2019 when my daughter was 2 weeks old, when Shauna introduced me to sea salt and avocado counter clean. And I looked at Will and I said, yeah, I need this like forever. So here we are. Never in a million years dreamed I'd be on a Zoom call talking and telling people about stuff. So anyway,
Just a forewarning, I am an emotional wreck. My nerves are out of control. I'm just in it's so if I start crying, forgive me. But anyway, consistency is a big part we need in our life in general. If we have no consistency in our life, whether it's our marriage, whether it's our our parenting, whether it's our business, whether it's our home management, our life pretty much feels like it's falling apart without consistency. And I'm probably going to hit on a lot that Cassidy talked about, because consistency and commitment go together. Consistency breeds commitment, the way I see it. You cannot have a commitment if you don't make a conscious effort to go toward it, and that's where consistency comes in from. So in this training, they talked about, and this is going to absolutely blow your mind, but consistency is actually not in the systems itself. Do we need systems? Yes, we absolutely have to have systems to run our business. But if the mindset is not there to use them systems appropriately, them systems are going to do us no good as far as consistency is concerned. If you think about like a factory machine, or the old saying, a well-oiled machine runs blah 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 blah, and they do have a system of operations that are consistent, but it's not those consistent actions that machine is making, it's how the person programmed it. So if our mind is not programmed into the belief that Crystal was talking about, we cannot consistently make an effort toward anything. So consistency does not come from the activity. It's our way of being and our way of thinking. If I wake up every morning dreading the mornings because I'm not a morning person, then my day is not going to consistently work in a positive manner. But if I wake up praising God, hey, I've got another day to live, then my day is already set up for a more consistent nature. If I'm down one day, if I'm up one day, if I'm down one up day, nothing in life is going to be consistent. And I just lost my train of thought. I'm sorry. So if you want to be somebody who is consistent, you need to become someone who knows how to manage and direct your mind. That is wired to our minds are naturally wired to go to the negative, go to the, oh goodness, this, that, and another. We need to learn how to reroute that, put in the belief that we can do this. If the system's not working, then why is the system not working? So for an example, back in the fall, I did the Flash to Full-Time program, and I got hooked on doing reels. I was killing it in my Instagram stories, blah, 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 all this kind of stuff. And then my phone broke. Okay, no big deal. Just the problem there and the consistency is you need a new phone. And then it took 2 months for the phone to come in. That was an issue. As that became the issue, then I got out of the habit. I gave up. I could still do some things, but I said, well, it ain't working the way I want, so why would I keep going? Therefore, I lost the consistency. The consistent person would have said, okay, I can't make a sticker on this because the stupid portion of my screen's broke, but what can I do? I could still do X, Y, and Z. But I told myself, oh, it ain't going the way everybody else is doing videos. Everybody else is doing the reels. Everybody else has got the cool features in this. My picture's not going to be substantial. Therefore, there's no point. But if I told myself the person in my audience is viewing and looking and watching for my stuff to pop up and this, that, and another, it would have
consistently worked and grown. And when I got the new phone and got back to the business, now I wouldn't have to be retraining myself, just for an example. So consistency allows us to do that problem solving. If there is something that's not letting me work in my business consistently, what is it? Is it my family life? Is there something going on in my personal business allowing me to that's not allowing me to maybe work? Then I just need to regroup that. A good example that I have of this is 4 years ago when I had my first child. I became overwhelmed with trying to keep up with the house chores and all that kind of stuff. If you know anything about kids and house cleaning and all that kind of stuff, it's very, very, very overwhelming. And so what I done was I found, as far as my cleaning schedule goes, Mondays I do this, Tuesdays I do this, Wednesdays I do this, Thursdays I do this, Fridays I do this, blah, 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 blah. Then when I get overwhelmed and I wake up and I know what day it is, I know what to do without having to scramble for it. Same thing in my business. That's what I've had to redirect. If it's Monday and the house is falling apart and all this kind of stuff, and I don't know what in the world's going on Mondays, I know I like to get my mail out because that's when I pretty much just have my 2 kids here. So that needs to be my heavy hands-on day. So that way on Tuesday, when I have all these extra kids here, that's my follow-up day. And I can, if I've only got 5 or 10 minutes, I can sit down, go through AMI as quick as I can and do what I can, start them conversations, keep them conversations rolling over however many days it takes. And keep going from there. So now, using my cleaning schedule, for example, I used to have to write down, hey, on my planner, hey, Mondays, let's see, what is my Monday? My mind's going like on what my Monday chores is. It's my meal planning day, all that kind of stuff. So now I know on Mondays, I got to get the meals ready for the week. If there's any meal prep that I do, let's go through the refrigerator and see what we can have for leftovers, all that kind of stuff. Tuesday, it's the day I dust and do that kind of stuff. I don't have to write that down no more because when I wake up and look, okay, it's Tuesday, when I'm get busy cleaning, that's I know what to do. The thing about consistency is whatever system you design for yourself, consistency gives you the room to change it as needed to fit your life. My cleaning schedule, in a sense, has changed since my 4-year-old was born. We've moved into a different house since then. I have more kids, but I have created such a habit of it that it was easy to make those switches. So when life happens, because it does, the consistency that you build allows you to make those changes effortlessly. So going back to that comment or that quote that Cassidy used, I actually, on my binder that I use, because I use a lot of paper and pen, I put that same quote on my binder, and it says, commitment is the product of a disciplined effort that eventually becomes an effortless habit. And that's where you can only get that commitment. That disciplined effort is consistency. And of course, consistency was my word for the year. So I'm doing a lot of work on trying to get my business in line with my family in a consistent manner and stuff. And a lot of it has been simply changing my mindset of, if I can't do it like X, Y, and Z, then I can't do it. Well, no, find what works. Find what works for my customers. Find what works for, your team. And what works most importantly for you that you can continually do it. There's another quote that I like that says, discipline continues to work regardless if we actually achieve the goal or not. So going back to that kind of gap versus gain stuff, instead of saying, well, I didn't get here, discipline says, I didn't get here, but I'm going to keep working, and I'm going to consistently keep working until I do. And if I don't, it's because it's not my time yet, but I keep going anyway. Consistency is what we need in our life. So when you have the weekend that I had this last weekend, I can get up this morning and continue on. I got up this morning and knew what to do because I have set these groundworks in my life, in my personal life, in my business life, and all this kind of stuff. And I don't have to question what to do. I can keep my mind clear, keep that belief going, and keep practicing those consistent efforts. So the biggest thing is just to be consistent, to make sure your priorities are always in line. So I don't know if I made any sense of that. I feel like I was all over the place. So Morgan, if you want to wrap that up and try to clarify anything that I didn't, we're good. So thank y'all.
Thank you. I'm so proud of you. You're amazing. Yeah, life's hard. Life's hard. Life's never going to be easy. There's always going to be a curveball thrown at you. There's always going to be something sucky going on, but how you respond to it is everything. God, there's so much that I want to say. I was supposed to close this out with like one little thing, but now like hearing everything, like there's so many things I wrote down, took notes of that I wanted to say, and just like, I don't even know where to start. Going back to belief, when Crystal was talking about having the willingness to learn, that was like, that's why I'm where I'm at. That's why everyone who is successful is where they're at. Most of us joined clueless, didn't know what in the world we were doing. Like still, I'm still learning every single day, and we all should be. That's something you should never stop doing. You should never stop doing personal growth, personal development. You should never stop learning new skills, perfecting skills, never stop training. Yeah, never stop training. And you know, if you ever stop training, then you're gonna stop growing, and you could never evolve. So, you know, you can't expect your business to continue growing if you're not growing. And but being willing to learn, like I literally YouTubed and Googled everything and workstationed everything when I joined, because we didn't have training videos. There was hardly anything accessible to us training wise when I joined. But that right there is proof that it's not the what, it's the why. It is why I was here, what I believed in, the product that I loved, the opportunity I saw in this business. It was those things that kept me going. I may not have known what to do, but I knew why I was doing it, and I figured it out, and I learned. And being willing to learn, I mean, that's a key component in becoming a leader, becoming a business owner in general. And the being responsible for your outcome. I mean, that's a huge thing that is hard to reflect on and hard to accept a lot of times. Like I bring on a lot of stress in my life myself, and I don't realize it in the moment, but when I really sit back, or I talk to my husband, he's really good at pointing things like that out. When I sit back and think about it, like I did that. That's my fault. I'm stressed out because I took on too much. I took on more than I could handle. I tried to do this and that at Christmas time, knowing I didn't have the time to do it. I complained the whole year of 2020 and 2021 about being stressed out about the house being clean, instead of just hiring someone to clean it, because I was trying to be a control freak. And I'm like, well, I don't think anybody else can clean it the way that I want it cleaned. Like Get over it. Hire somebody to clean your house so that you can eliminate that stress. Like, that's what I had to tell myself. And there's just a lot of things in life that happen to us, for us, that we bring on ourselves, and we have to realize that. Same in our business. And like, when you're saying nobody wants to book a party or nobody wants to join, there's somebody out there wanting to say yes to you today. But are you finding those people? It's what you're doing or not doing. It's the actions you're taking or not taking. It's the consistency you're maintaining or not maintaining. It's the belief you have in yourself or don't have in yourself. It all starts here. That's where it starts. How can you get consistent? Do less better. Stop trying to do 18 bazillion things. I'm talking to myself. This is something I've had to learn over the last, I guess, 2 years. Stop doing so much. Do less, and you'll be able to do each thing exceptionally well. Where if you're trying to do 18,000 things that you can't even physically fit into your to-do list, because there's not enough hours in the day, and all it's doing is causing you stress and burnout. Focus on a few things and do them well. Focus on the important things, the income producing things, the things that make you money, the things that are important. Focus on the important things and do them well. Stop trying to do a million things. Stop trying to do what everybody else is doing. Other people may have more time on their hands. Other people may have help. Other people may be so burnt out behind the scenes that it's not even funny, and they're crying themselves to sleep every night, and they're not spending any time with their family. But on social media, it looks like they're happy, doing all the things. So you don't know what's going on outside of what you're seeing on social media, what you're seeing people doing. So do less better. That is something I made a change. I think it was the beginning of 2021. Might have been 2020. The year 2020, it's like it didn't even exist. I don't even know. That whole year's a blur. I think I tried to block it out, so it's just like non-existent to me at this point. Does anybody else feel like that? But I made that change, and because I've always been, and I've told y'all this before, I'm a very task-oriented person. I'm a to-do list person. I have a to-do list every single day. I have a running to-do list for things that need to get done that week, things that need to get done that month, things that need to get done that day. I have my task list for my business laid out for every single month. I have it broken down by a week, and then I break it down by day into 30-minute increments. I'm a task person. I'm a check it off person. I get fulfillment from that, but I overload myself if I'm not careful. So I started trying to focus on doing less better. That goes back to consistency. Like I said, if you want to be consistent, you got to do less better. One thing, if you're having an off day, do one thing that matters. That's all you need to do. One thing that matters. Follow up with 10 people. Boom. Income producing task for the day. It's meaningful. You're working on building a relationship with the person. One thing. That's all you have to do. Show up every day that you're supposed to be working and do at least one thing. It's that simple. Because we don't all wake up in a great mood every day. We don't all have great days every day. But you got to do one thing. I struggled through December. Struggled. But you saw me show up and do something every day. So, I guess I'll close it out with going back to what I talked about in the beginning. Don't forget to reflect on how far you've come. Do this every single month. Look at your business. when you're evaluating your business for the month and you're setting your goals for the month, go back and reflect on how far you've come. Speak those positive affirmations, have those positive thoughts, be proud of yourself. And remind yourself of why you're doing this, and not just why you're doing this, your why for like yourself and your family and all of that, but why you're doing this for the world. Like, who are you trying to impact and why? It's not about us. It's always about everyone else. It's never about you. It's about your customers. It's about serving your customers well. It's about serving your team. It's about loving your team. It's about taking care of your team. It's about instilling belief in your team. It's about having an impact on this world. It's about having influence over people. That's what it's about. What is your purpose? What is your mission behind what you're doing? And think about that every single month. And we're going to talk more about that on our Zoom that we're doing on Thursday for directors and above. It's going to go a lot more in depth on burnout and hustle and your mission and your purpose. Somebody get this dog. Both dogs. My husband's outside too. Okay. Lily. Hey, I'm trying to train. Don't you know? I'm trying to train. Come here. Oh dear. Okay. Sorry. Look, I have everybody else barking. Hey, hush. Okay. Hush. Go lay down. Hey, go get in your kennel. Now, what was I talking about? I don't know. We're going to talk more in depth on Thursday on our Director and Above Zoom about burnout and hustle and overworking and like knowing what your mission is and how to get out of your burnout and all these things and how to avoid burnout. So that will be recorded on YouTube as well. And if you want to watch that, you can. Like I said, it's going to be for directors and above, but anybody is going to be able to watch that when it's posted. But you just have to remember you have a purpose in this world. Just the way you are, you have impact on this world. You have value to give to this world. You have so much value to give to this world, just the way you are. And so many people don't realize that. And you have to know that. You have to tell yourself that. I have to show up every single day and say, I am giving value to this world with this post I'm about to make. I'm giving value to this world with this story I'm about to share. You have to be your biggest cheerleader. You have to believe that you are giving value. And you have to believe in your mission and why you're doing this, because if you don't believe in it, nobody else is going to believe in it. So it starts with you. It starts with your belief. My word for 2022 is serve. I'm here to serve everyone that I possibly can well. And it's all about the people. It always has been. It always will be. It's not about a paycheck. It's not about a title. It's not about earning an incentive trip. It's not about earning an annual sales award. It's not about earning an annual mentor award. I didn't even know I earned the annual sales award in November. That shows you how laser focused I am on the people, on serving people, on having an impact on people, on helping people promote to reach their goals, to the point that I didn't even know that I was in the top 75 in the incentive trip. I didn't even know I earned the annual sales award. I didn't even know I am 5 people away from earning the annual mentor award. I didn't even know until my to-do list told me, hey, you're supposed to be updating your trackers. So I went and I checked everything. That's how focused you should be on changing the world, on having an impact on people, on helping people. And then guess what's going to happen? You're going to be blessed. You're going to see the paychecks when you're not focused on the paychecks. And you can imagine how hard that is and I've struggled with this before. I think we all have, or will, if you haven't yet. Being the only person in this household who works, who supports my family with my income, you can imagine how hard that is to not be focused on the paycheck. But when you can make that mindset shift and be focused on the people, the paychecks are going to come. You're going to be so blessed, and you're going to be like, where did this even come from? How did I even get here? So remember, it's not the what, it's the why. It's not, there's people, like I said, there's people out there right now who want to say yes to you, who want to book a party with you, who want to learn about Cincy, who want to join you, who want to build a big business. There's people out there, but you have to find them. It's not the what, it's the why. Reflect on your beliefs, your mission, your purpose. Focus on the process, stay grateful, acknowledge your successes, acknowledge where you've come from. Give yourself grace and just stay full of gratitude. Stay grateful. Appreciate the process, love the process, enjoy the process, obsess over the process. So that is all I have. Thank you, Crystal. Thank you, Cassidy. Thank you, Rachel. Y'all are amazing. I know y'all had an impact on so many people today, and this was like the best call ever. So again, I'm going to be doing a call on Thursday as well for directors and star directors and superstar directors, but it will be on YouTube. So any leader, any person who wants to watch it can watch it. And, but anyway, I love y'all so much. I'm so thankful for all of you, and I hope y'all have a great rest of your day. Go change the world.